In this video, I'm going to give you a run through of one of my bikes. This is my Specialized Kenevo. Kenevo, I like to call it Kenevo, so it sounds a little bit like a rally car, an Evo, something like that. This is Specialized 180mm travel e-bike. So it's an aluminium frame. It's using that 6 Fattie trail geometry that Specialized are known for. So short chain stays, low bottom bracket, roomy top tube, and it's running a 65-degree head angle. So this bike definitely goes downhill very well. So I run the medium-sized bike. I'm 5 foot 10 inches, which is about 177 centimeters, I think. I find that's plenty room enough for me. So running the 45mm stem that the bike comes with. It also comes with 800mm Specialized alloy bars that I cut down to 760, which is pretty much my preferred width for every bike. I run them slightly narrower, 750 on my more traily cross-country bikes. Running the Specialized Command Woo seat post. So this 125mm drop, but as you can see, it also tilts the saddle, so that's pretty unique to this system. When you lower it down, it tips it up like a downhill bike, so it's just easier to get off the back of the bike. And when you move it up, it's nice and flat, so it's super comfortable for pedaling on. So I've got the Olin's TTX 22M Coil Shock on the back of this bike. Comes with absolutely loads of adjustments. So you've got 3 settings for high speed compression, 2 and then a climb setting. Got 16 clicks there for low speed compression, and then you've got your rebound adjustment down here. So I haven't played around too much with this shock, to be honest. I find it works really well anyway. I've wound a little bit more preload onto that spring just to make it a little bit stiffer. And I've been playing around with that rebound knob just a little bit, and I've got that bike set up perfectly. The small bump sensitivity is great, as you'd expect from a Coil Shock. Up front, I've got the RockShox Lyric air fork. So it's the RCT3 model of the Lyric. So you've got the Charger 2 damper. It's worth mentioning actually this bike is boost space in front and rear. So it's 110 up front, 148 out rear, which I think is something that actually is really good for e-bikes. With that bit of extra weight, you do want it nice and stiff. Something I actually need to do with this fork, I want to play around a little bit with the internals. At the moment I'm finding that the sort of first part of the stroke is super supple, if not a little bit too supple, so I spend a lot of my time in here, but then it ramps up quite quick. So I'm actually going to try taking out one of those tokens inside the fork and try putting a bit more pressure in there, just so I stay a bit higher in the travel, but that's something I'm going to experiment with in the future. So the wheels on this bike are the DT Swiss HX 1501 splines, so e-bike specific wheels, so they deal with that extra weight you've got on there. They're alloy rims, and I've picked them in the 35mm width. They come in 25, 30 and 35. I really like the tyre profile that these 35s give me. So I've got these Specialized Butcher Grid 2.8 tyres. They don't seem massive to me, they seem actually a really good width. Running tubeless, of course, tubeless in the front tyre, and I'm actually running a Mr. Wolfbanger insert in the rear because the rear of this bike does take a pounding. I'm able to ride this bike really aggressively downhill, so I need something just to make sure I don't puncture on the rear. So there's an 11-speed drivetrain on this bike. It's an 1142 cassette. Got the SRAM GX 11-speed rear mech on there. Up on the bars, you've got the GXE shifter, so it only lets you shift 1 gear at a time. It's actually really important with an e-bike because if you try and shift too many, with all that power, you quite easily snap that chain, which is a KMC 11-speed chain. So you've got that top guide just to make sure that your chain doesn't come off when you're riding those aggressive downhill tracks on the Kenevo. Praxis Works alloy cranks. And actually I'm running flat pedals at the moment, but I think I might actually try some clips on here soon. At the moment I've got the Crank Brothers stamps. I can actually see the freewheel on the front of the bike. You can see how the chainring disengages from that crank. SRAM code brakes on this bike, so the big downhill brakes with 200mm rotors front and rear. Definitely need those for the stopping power. Got the Specialized grips, nice and thin, which I actually really like. Also the shifter and the dropper post sit nicely under the bar on those matchmaker systems. And something that's different to a lot of e-bikes out there actually, it's a really small control to these Specialized bikes. So there it is, I can go up and down on my power modes. That Specialized logo takes me straight back up to turbo, and then my walk button underneath. So the 504 watt-hour battery is integrated really nicely into the down tube of the bike. You've also got this trail display here, which shows you your battery level, but also tells you what mode you're in, because I've used a couple of bars of battery on this. So using the minus or plus, you can change your power mode. Of course, you can also do that up on the bar, so that tells me I'm in turbo, down to my middle setting, down to eco. Hit that S button, takes you all the way back up to the turbo setting. So there's also a Bluetooth module built into this battery which communicates with that mission control app on your phone to give you stats of the ride, but also helps you plan the battery life and the route you're going to ride. A couple of really nice touches to this bike is the bottle cage comes on the bike, but also comes with this swap tool just tucked down here, so you've got your multi-tool there. And then up on the stem, just under that top cap, I've got a spare power link and a chain tool. So you've got all internal cable routing on this bike, so they go in and they're clipped to the frame inside there, just the other side of the battery. Plus you've got that double freewheel system on this bike that disengages the gearbox above those top speeds of pedal assist. The bike is still really smooth to pedal, also an absolutely silent motor on this bike. So this is my Specialized Kenevo. Hit that thumbs up button just over there if you like the look of my bike. I absolutely love the look of it. That Cali fade paint job looks amazing. If you want to see some more videos, click over there for how to descend on an e-bike, over there for the EMBN show, and hit this subscribe button.